there is, quite frankly, a mess in Europe, the US, and the UK right now. The cost of living is super high, taxes are super high, stabbings, crime, I could go on. Hey there guys, what's happening and welcome back to the channel. It's Mike here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking all about living in Phuket in 2025, the pros and the cons. Now, I made a video similar to this about 18 months ago which performed really well, but I wanted to make an updated version for 2025 because, well, quite frankly, over the last 18 months Phuket has changed a lot. It is changing very quickly. Some people say for good, some people say for bad, but I'll let you be the judge of that. So in this video, I'm going to break down 5 pros and 5 cons of living right here on the island of Phuket. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Alright, so the first point that I want to make is that living in Phuket, expat life in Phuket, is overwhelmingly positive. I did have to rack my brains to come up with 5 cons, 5 bad points, but nonetheless, I've done it. But if you are thinking about moving here, the first thing that I'm going to say is you won't regret it. I first moved here in 2011 and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I've spent time living in Cambodia and Vietnam, but I've always gravitated back to Phuket, and the 5 pros or the 5 positives of living here will show you why. So if you haven't visited the island yet, I would urge you to book your ticket right away. Like I say, you won't regret it. All right, so let's dive into the 5 plus points and the 5 negative points of living in Phuket. And the first one, the first positive point, is the amazing beaches and nature, natural parks, waterfalls that you have here in Phuket. Now, obviously, everybody knows about the amazing beaches here, and there are so many of them. There are over 30 beaches in Phuket. You've got the big ones like Qatar, Karon, Kamala, Patong, and then up the north of the island, you've got some beautiful smaller beaches like Nai Ton, Nai Yang is a very well-known beach as well. That's a larger one, but you've got so many different beaches to choose from, and you know, each beach has got its own character. I absolutely love going down to Nai Han Beach in the south, but at the same time Bang Tao has got a very different energy, a very different vibe, and I love spending time up there as well. You've got loads of natural parks and waterfalls, so you can really enjoy nature here in Phuket, which is one of the reasons so many people love living here. Now, on the flip side of the coin, one of the biggest complaints amongst Phuket residents is, you guessed it, the traffic. Now, it's true to say that more people are coming to Phuket, and the infrastructure here is definitely seeing some challenges, particularly in the northwest of the island. There are certain areas at certain times that if you're driving a car, you just avoid them, you know, Boat Avenue, that sort of Bang Tao area at 6 p.m. on a Friday, avoid that at all costs. However, if you're on a bike, you're okay. And if you know the back routes and things like that, the back roads, it's really not that bad. I mean, speaking globally, Phuket has got a long way to go to catch up to the traffic of Jakarta or even Bangkok, you know. So a lot of the residents, the old school residents of Phuket, you know, you see them in Facebook groups and on YouTube videos complaining about the traffic. It is pretty hectic, but, you know, it's still Phuket and it's still an incredible place to live. And the government are putting in place measures to ease that traffic. They're going to be installing or building a new bypass route that takes you straight from Patong, straight from the airport, straight down to Patong. Now, let's see when that happens. It's not going to happen tomorrow or probably next year, but there are measures being put in place. So that would be the first con, the traffic. Let me know, are you living in Phuket? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, back to something more positive, and the second positive point about living in Phuket is you can enjoy an international lifestyle here. Phuket has got a wide variety of international schools. There's more being added to the menu every year. I saw a new one down in Rawai open just last month. You've got the big ones, British International School, UWC, which are top quality international schools. So if you're moving here with a family, you've got plenty of schools to choose from. On the same point, you've got excellent international hospitals, the Bangkok Phuket Hospital. There's a brand new 6-star hospital being opened in the north of the island called the Bumrungrad International Hospital, and they're going to be promoting Phuket as a health and wellness and a medical tourism hub. So that sort of side of the infrastructure is absolutely excellent. You can also, as well as having the international lifestyle, you know, your Michelin star restaurants and all of your top quality malls, you can also enjoy the Thai style life here. You know, so if you want to go out and spend $2 on a bowl of noodles or some fried chicken, you can do that. You could also go and spend $2,000 in a Michelin star restaurant. So the quality of life and the international options here in Phuket are one reason that so many people love living here. Now, while there may be good schools and hospitals, that side of the infrastructure is good. What's not so good is the public transport in Phuket. That would be the second con. The public transport network in Phuket is pretty weak, I have to say. There's no train network, although again, that's planned. Let's see when that happens. There is a few buses run around the island. I've never taken one myself. I know there's the 20 baht bus without aircon and things like that. But in general, the public transport isn't great. Now, if you want to get around and you're living here, a car would be highly recommended. A bike, I mean, if you have to take a bike short distances, okay. But in my opinion, you don't want to be driving on the highways with a motorbike. Lots of people do, but over the years, I've seen so many disasters that I personally just prefer to take the car. Taxis are available. You've got various different apps. Grab, InDriver, Bolt is another one where you can get not cheap taxis. It's not like Bangkok, you know. I mean, if you compare Phuket to Bangkok, it's got the BTS, it's got the MRT, it's got very affordable taxis. Phuket doesn't really have that. It doesn't have any of the train lines. The taxis and the tuk-tuks can be quite expensive. So if you are coming here, you can get a private driver to, you know, service you for your full holiday. That's something that a lot of my clients like to do. Or get yourselves a car. You drive on the left, so if you were Brit, it's pretty easy. If you're from another country that drives on the right, it might be a bit tricky. But you can rent a car for fairly affordable monthly rate. I would recommend doing that for transport. All right, so back to the third positive point, which is the cost of living. Now, it's definitely true to say that Phuket is one of the more expensive areas or regions of Thailand. However, in comparison to global standards, it is still very affordable to live here. And the beauty is, whether you've got a budget of $2,000 a month or $20,000 a month, your money is going to go a lot further and you're going to have a better quality of life than you would back home. Now, how much does it cost to live in Phuket? How long is a piece of string? It really depends on your situation. Do you want to rent a villa for you and your family, send your kids to school, or are you a single digital nomad who's happy with a basic condominium and eating street food? So there really are lots of different options in Phuket. I personally spend between 100 to 150,000 baht a month. That covers all my expenses, and I live very well. I never cook at home. I always eat out. I go to nice brunches. I live a pretty nice life. So the affordable cost of living is another reason that so many people are choosing to relocate to Phuket long term. Okay, so on to con number 4, which is weather challenges. Now, this one cropped up this year, actually middle of last year, I should say, it's January already, when we did see some flash flooding here in Phuket, similar to various other regions in the world. Let's face it, it's 2025. We saw big flooding in the UK last year. We saw it in Europe as well. I think it was Belgium and Spain got hit with floods, and the same happened here in Phuket, particularly particularly in the Kamala region and up in the northwest around the Pasak area. There was some very, very bad flooding. And this is because rainy season can be pretty intense. You know, it can go for 2 weeks where it just rains every single day. So weather challenges and flooding can be an issue, and if you're thinking about buying a property here in Phuket, make sure that your real estate agent has checked the area out for flooding. That's really, really important. There's been a couple of new developments built, and they're basically on the floodplain, and the construction site was underwater. So if you're thinking about buying property here, make sure you do your homework about the flood warnings in the area, okay? And that brings us on to our next point, the next positive point, which is Phuket's booming real estate market. Now, you might say this is a pro, you might say this is a con, depending on which side of the fence you sit on. Now, obviously, being a real estate agent, I see this firsthand. There are so many great new developments, so many investors making very, very good money from purchasing condos and villas here. And in comparison to the West, the price per square meter is very, very affordable. You know, you can buy a luxury villa, a luxury condo here for a fraction of the price that you would pay in Europe, the UK, America, Singapore, Dubai, which again is why so many people are deciding to purchase property here. And the rental yields here are very, very good as well. I mean, on a condominium here that's well managed, you can expect at least 7%. On a SEAVIEW villa, you can expect even more. So the rental yields and the good opportunity for capital appreciation and the affordability of property is one reason that the market is booming right now. Now let's go back to a con, a negative point. If you are coming to Phuket and you're looking for work, if you haven't got some savings or an online business or something already, job options here in Phuket are limited, if truth be told. A lot of Westerners here are working online, are doing the digital nomad thing. A lot of people are teachers, okay? That's an easy job to get. And the majority of other people are working in the real estate sector. But jobs here are limited. You can't just walk into a coffee shop or a bar and hand your CV in and get a job, because certain jobs are protected for Thai people. Hairdressing, for example. You couldn't be a hairdresser here in Thailand if you wanted to be. Now, if you do want to know more info on jobs for foreigners in Thailand, I've also made a video on that. You can see that up there now. But anyway, if you are planning to come to Phuket to look for work, be aware of that. Job options are very, very limited. So do your homework first and make sure you've got some money to see you through. Okay, so on to the final positive point for today, which is a little bit of a different take on it actually. But when you're living in Phuket, you can avoid the political mess that's going on in the West right now. Now, I don't want to get into politics, but I do speak to my family and friends who live in the UK, France, Germany, the US, and they don't seem too happy right now. You know, there is, quite frankly, a mess in Europe, the US, and the UK right now. You know, let's look at the UK. The cost of living is super high, taxes are super high, stabbings, crime, I could go on. And a lot of people, they just want to get away from that. Now, when you're in Phuket, you don't have to deal with that. You know, I do watch the news, so I keep up to date on these things. But if you choose not to watch the news, you can almost exist in an expat bubble, you know. And here, people are on holiday, the mood's good, people are pretty happy. In general, you don't have to put up with that negative, depressing feed that the West gives you every single day. Now, again, I'm not going to dive into politics, but this is one of the main reasons that I've been living in Phuket for so long. The vibe here, the energy here is really, really good. When I go back to the UK, people seem miserable, they seem downtrodden. You come up with an idea, or if you're an entrepreneur, that gets beaten down straight away. I'll make another video about this, but I could never move back to the UK for some of those reasons. Here in Phuket, you can avoid that negativity and that political situation that's bubbling in the UK, the US, and all over Europe right now. Now, on the flip side of the coin, while you are away from that, the final negative or the final con for me is that I'm a long way from my family, you know. I do miss my folks. I get to go back there a couple of times a year, thankfully, because my work's pretty flexible. But being a long way from home, particularly when your parents are getting on, you know, you do have these thoughts, shall we say. Now, I do absolutely love living in Phuket, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But if you could make the flight 3 hours instead of 20, that would make so much difference. But hey, that's not going to happen, is it? So there you have it, guys. 5 pros and 5 cons of living in Phuket in 2025. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like to connect with me, all my details are on the screen now. If you're looking for property in Phuket, you know what to do. Check out my website, livinginphuketproperty.com. Or if you'd like more info and a community of people living in Thailand, you can join my free Facebook group, Thailand Expats and Digital Nomads. All the links that you need are in the description and pinned comments. With that said, thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.